Hey Spuddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here, and welcome back to Let's Play Civilization 6 as the Maori. Definitely looks like there's room in here for a city as well, although I'm not sure if I want to use the settler that I have up here to settle inland over here, or do I send them all the way around to help fill out this continent? I think it's probably better to send them around the far way. Watermill completed in Nagarawahia, which means that we have basically all of our infrastructure in here, like the monument granary and the watermill are finished, which means we can get to work on things like the harbour. It'll only take about 13 turns. I would really like to get a builder in here, but this city will be just fine without one. Eventually we are going to need one, but I think for now we'll be perfectly happy to leave things as they are. There is actually a really good industrial zone right here next to these two quarries. It would be even better if I was playing Germany. Time to get my third copy of diamonds. You can see, because I have my own continent to myself, a lot of these resources, I'm the only person who has a copy, because different resources spawn on different continents. So I have a surplus of gems and stuff. And, you know, I've been kind of being a little bit lazy about actually selling and interacting with the AI this game. So let's go around and start selling off like the spare gems and stuff. Looks like Spain is the only person who does not have enough iron for their needs. The AI likes to keep a stockpile of 40 of each strategic resource. So that's usually how much they're willing to buy up to. So you can see here, they'll give me 23 gold for 10 iron. But if I add more iron to this, they'll still only be willing to offer me 23 because they're only paying for the first 10 iron. If I bring it down to 9, they won't accept the deal anymore, and I'll have to update the price. So that's why it's usually a pretty good idea to sell up to 40 resources for the AI. And for example, like I could throw in here another 20 horses. Well, I'll show you something else too. One thing you might notice is the AI kind of weirdly only buys in chunks of 20. Let me see if I can show that off. Nah, like the only person who doesn't have enough money or doesn't have enough horses is Spain, and they don't have enough money for me to really show it off. I will be voting for myself to get the extra trade routes, although it's not that important. And I would like to be the one who gets the district acting as culture bombs. Probably not super important for me, but you know, it could be a nice little boost. And it looks like I did indeed win both of these. And since we now have access to alliances, thanks to picking up the guilds technology, since we have civil service, we can start to talk to some of these guys and maybe form some alliances. Spain, unfortunately, looks like they're about to get murdered, which is, you know, far from ideal. However, if we take a look at the tourism map mode, it looks like the Ottomans are going to be the biggest problem for me tourism-wise. And it might be a good idea to set up some trade with them. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get a friendship with Mongolia, if they're willing to give it to me. They are not. So let's get friendships with everyone that we can for now. And then we can kind of decide which alliances will go where. And then I'll also get a economic alliance with Getarja. She'll make me pay a gold for that. Then I'll get a military alliance with the Ottomans. And finally, with Spain, I will get a religious alliance. And then I'll look for a research alliance later. Like maybe I'll get a delegation with the Khmer and get a friendship with him as well. In fact, on that note, well, no, I don't want to give him any of my gold because I want to keep my gold to purchase shipyards. Speaking of shipyards, I believe I had a plus 10 shipyard over here in Opango that I'm going to go ahead and click in there. And this city now has 23 production. I basically just doubled this city's production from a single purchase. That is the power of shipyards in a coastal game. And indeed, I think Spain was just murdered. Yep. Philip II has been defeated. So wherever he was on the map, he is no more. There he is. He was just conquered by Mongolia, who I have a military alliance with. Or at least I have a military alliance with the Ottomans. So I lost one of my alliances, which is not a big deal. We'll have to get some more. Now, the unfortunate thing is I am planning on going for a culture victory. And the fact that an AI has died is going to make that a little bit more difficult. For reasons, it takes too long to explain why. Basically, the interaction, but like the interaction of the mechanics makes it so that if a player dies, it makes it harder to win a culture victory. Now, I have another trade route in my capital. I'm not sure what I want to do with it. I think I might put it in Kahia, and maybe if I can get this trade route to run through my empire like that, I think that'll work out pretty well, because this city could definitely use the trade route to help it boost along. We have, in fact, completed the intelligence agency, and I'm thinking, who is making the most money? Well, I think we could check out London. It seems to be they're making about 328 in terms of stealing there. That's not too bad. And otherwise, it would be like 32. So I think I'm going to go ahead and send this spy to London, primarily to steal gold, to get leveled up. Now, with the completion of the intelligence agency, we are, of course, going to go straight back to mass producing settlers in the capital, and we're getting one about every 5 turns. I could build more districts in here, but I'm not sure if I want to do that. I'm not sure if I want to build more districts. I definitely do want to build walls and stuff like that eventually, but I'm under no pressure or hurry to do that. I want to get those walls around the time I'm unlocking conservation. Now, Reina, I think it could be worth it to upgrade her with tax collector. And you know what? This game, it might even be worth it to get her all the way to contractor. Because I'm making enough money now that being able to move her around to purchase upgrade cities would be a huge benefit. We have finished humanism, giving us access to the invention and the frescoes card, which are not that important. The Taj Mahal could be something that we build, but more importantly, we have access to the art and archaeological museums, which are going to be things that we will be building when we have our shipyards online. With the advent of humanism, we are going to want to make our way towards diplomatic service, because builders, spies, and traders are what we consider empire-wide infrastructure that you want to have access to as early as possible. I am eventually going to want to pop into Reformed Church. Once I unlock conservation, there's going to be a brief period of time between conservation and when I unlock democracy that I'm going to be switching over to Reformed Church. But I'm going to delay that as long as possible. And the reason I'm going to switch over to Reformed Church is so that I can get really cheap faith purchasing discounts when I start pumping out naturalists. Harbour completed in Te Pokawi. It'll only take about 5 turns to build that lighthouse in here, so I'm more than happy to do that. I definitely would like a builder in here to start chopping maybe this forest tile so that I could place a campus in here. 1 or 2 campuses this game aren't too bad, especially because you can potentially get some great engineers and stuff like that to help you out with that sort of tourism kind of thing. I can't remember that. I believe there's a great engineer, maybe it's a great merchant, that gives you 10 tourism per campus. And that's a really, really powerful ability. So it looks like my capital can reach this city, but this city cannot reach my capital, which is kind of unfortunate because the trade route kind of, I feel, a little bit misled. But maybe if I trade with Kandy first, or perhaps even Jerusalem, that will result in enough roadworks that I'll be able to actually reach across and trade with my capital, because I feel like roads are kind of the important thing here. Might be worth considering upgrading some of these quadriremes to frigates. But the real question is, do I have niter inside my territory? And if you're ever curious about that, all you got to do is type the word of the thing you're looking for, space, and then the name of your civilization, and it will show you all of the niter inside your territory. Since I have none, it said 0. And then I can search for niter, and I might find some near where I need it. Looks like, I think I did a search for niter before. It looks like the vast majority of it is kind of out of my reach right now. I'll have to pick some up in the near future. Like, I didn't even get any near my capital. It looks like Jerusalem kind of snapped up 2 copies. Ah, the Great Lighthouse. Beautiful. So that's +1 movement for my naval units. And more importantly, don't forget that this itself provides just a little bit of tourism. It's only 4 per turn, but 4 per turn isn't bad at all. I would also like to get the Colossus, and I think it's about time. So I'm going to place the Colossus there. I think it's about time that I purchase the shipyard in here. It's a 16-turn build on the Colossus. That'll bring it down to an 11-turn build. I also need to get my hands on the Maori and these 2 museums, but this city is kind of preoccupied with building wonders right now, so I'm not in a rush. Maori completed in Opango, Now, the real question is, do I want to grab the Art Museum and the Archaeological Museum nice and early here? Or do I want to go and maybe get a couple of builders to develop the terrain here? And I feel like one or two builders would be really, really good for this city. Maybe even just one builder to kind of improve these bonus resources that I won't be able to remove anyway. So I think I'm going to grab myself one builder in here and then head back and grab the Archaeological Museum. I'm going to want a mix of archaeological and art museums, and I'm pretty far away from getting a great artist, so I'm not in a rush. The big problem is Russia, speaking of Russias, Russia has been snapping up all of the artistic great people. I think he's gotten a couple of artists. There's a few going here. So I want to get these archaeological museums online pretty quick in order to start competing for this. He's even grabbed a great musician. Let's see, any other things? No, it looks like just mostly writers going, which we don't care about, but we don't want to let people get a lot of great artists because that would be just detrimental to our game plan. Nice thing about the lighthouse is it's going to shave off a few turns moving my settlers, because I believe settlers get the movement speed, because this guy has 6 movement speed right now. Honestly, I'm tempted to actually stop this guy now to pick up this niter. City, dam, industrial zone, harbour, and then like a theatre square just kind of plonked down somewhere. Grab this niter and stuff. And man, I'm really, really tempted to settle this city here and just grab this little river system and kind of fill in this terrain. Because I just need access to the niter, on all honesty. The downside is it only grabs 2 of the fishing tiles, whereas if I moved 1 tile to the left, it would grab all 4 of the fishing tiles eventually. It's a tough choice. I guess I can move 1 tile to the left and just rearrange the industrial zone here instead, so they get slightly less adjacency, but still good. Still finding tribal villages this many turns into the game, which is always fun. Too bad I don't have any privateers to actually pillage this. Speaking of privateers, could I get one? Have I even unlocked privateers? I can't remember. I'm pretty close to unlocking them, right? Yeah, it's at mercantilism. I think it would be cool if there was like an earlier naval raider unit. But there's diplomatic service, more importantly. I could plug in Machiavellianism to build my spies faster. However, Machiavellianism actually makes your spies do their missions faster, which for commercial hub stealing is actually bad. You don't, because it just means you have a higher chance of getting caught, because you're essentially rolling the dice on being caught. And since he extracts the money on a turn-by-turn basis, if the mission takes 6 turns, you're only getting 6 turns of income. So I think in this case, I'm probably going to just hard build a spy somewhere, like maybe in Kayapoi, since it's about to finish a pretty weak shipyard, all things considered. It's only a +6, which, is like +6 production. It sounds like it's only a +6. Sounds like I'm being a bit flippant there. But yeah, I think I might go ahead and pick up a spy in here. It'll be a pretty slow to build spy. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. On the other hand, I could also go ahead and try to build a Huey to a Kali in this city, which is also not a bad move, I feel like. It wouldn't be a great Huey, like all things considered, but it's also like another wonder that'll generate a little bit of tourism from me, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. Although before I do that, I think it would be good to get a trader in here, and I might go ahead and grab the spy somewhere else. I do have room for more traders, which is going to be something I need to think about. And we're going to be doing a little bit of a movement that I like to do in my tourism games. We're going to go for, basically, once you get to mercantilism, this opens up the pathway towards colonialism, which is unimportant, unless we're going to start trying to take advantage of colonial taxes. Then you go to natural history, which will give you access to the archaeologist. Then you go straight to conservation to get the naturalist. And you can indeed go all the way to cultural heritage, although I typically delay this one because I tend to not need these quite yet. And so yeah, we're gonna do the sweep up directly for conservation, which means we're now on a collision course with our tourism destiny. We go pick up a bit of gold from that tribal village down there, and then just tell all the excess units to go asleep and stop moving while we move around our actual important ones. Shipyard completed in Warakara, which means the city now has 34 production, a very German city production number there. Now, I think it would be a good idea to start picking up traders. I also need the spy in here. This city also could use a builder. It's got a lot of really unimproved tiles. Like, I'm a little bit amazed the city is making 34 production, considering how little improved the city actually is. So I think it's kind of a hard choice here, but I really do need to make sure I'm emphasizing my infrastructure. I really would like things like the art museum, but I'm going to emphasize getting a builder, a trader, and a spy in here, because this city just has a high enough production count that it can kind of deal with delaying these things. Now, in terms of Te Pokawi, this city has a +8 shipyard in here, so I'm going to go ahead and buy that to get it up to 26 production. And this city is sort of in a similar boat where I need a builder and a trader in here, ideally, to help clean up some of these tiles and improve the city, so I can actually start placing things like the campus and the theater square. Time to settle our latest city. We'll go ahead and pick up that niter so that we have access to the tech boosts as well as the delicious thingies. I was injecting gold into my cities to get them started. In this city, I'm definitely going to place the dam and the industrial zone first in here, as opposed to the way I would normally have done it. But we're going to work very quickly on a watermill in this city, because that's going to give us production and food. And this city has like already a pretty good 2 food 4 production tile. And I might even try to get a trader over to this city. Although I doubt I'll be able to reach the capital. I might be able to just get some road networks going. We do finally have a spy established in London. We're going to go ahead and gain sources. This will take about 8 turns. And then this spy will be able to go start stealing from the English. And the amount of gold he steals is going to be pretty low at first. But as London increases its gold income, we should start to see higher returns there. Otarapa has hard built its shipyard. And I really want to get to work on actually building up my commercial hubs, so that I can start pumping out great merchants. So I think I might do that in here. On the other hand, I could go for the Taj Mahal right next to my theater square here. It would only take 26 turns, which is a pretty quick one considering. And it would make getting golden ages a lot easier. Man, I feel like it's the right call here. And if I place it here, I'd be able to link up another city on the right here with it to be able to build a better theater square. So I think I'm going to go ahead and place the Taj Mahal right there. Kind of a bit more heavy on wonders this game than I would normally play. But I think it makes sense given that I don't really have a whole lot of options for getting early tourism. And the wonders that I'm getting actually do provide like huge benefits for the large empire that I have. Starting to find some really nice stuff. There's industrialization, giving us +1 to mines as well as coal, and the Ruhr Valley as an option. Unfortunately, I'm unlikely to be able to get the Ruhr Valley in this city, but I'm not too worried about actually getting the Ruhr Valley. I don't think it's a wonder that is super important for a tourism game. I have found a bunch of barbarians, however, and I've got to kind of get away from them. Still exploring with my scouts, trying to find any little nooks and crannies. But with the advent of industrialization, that's going to mean we are going to want to start planning out just a few industrial zones here or there to make sure we're spreading power around. We're also going to want to pick up steam power. That's going to give us even more movement for embarked units, which is really nice. We're also going to want to come up and grab electricity and eventually flight and radio, in particular to get seaside resorts. But these are kind of harder techs to get, especially flight, because it requires me to get all of these preceding techs like stirrups, banking, astronomy, scientific theory before I can even approach flight. And picking up flight is what we want to do. We want to pick up flight because it gives +1 tourism to all of the city's tiles with a feature of natural wonder. So flight is definitely a priority for us for actual tourism generation. But I might stop off and grab steam power and electricity first to be able to get seaports and continue to like dominate in the sheer amount of gold I can generate, and also get better embarkation. So it's kind of a thing, and then that'll also lead to computers. Man, it's hard to know. Should I go for flight first or should I go for electricity? I think I'm going to go for electricity because I really like how neatly this all fits together with my coastal economy game plan. And this is just going to like completely blow the lid on my economy in just the sheer amount of gold I'm going to be able to generate. Alright, let's go ahead and buy the fish tile and improve it in Makipa. I don't know how to say this city's name. But we'll work the fish tile because we want to grow the city as fast as possible to actually start working more tiles, which will result in a sort of longer term return on investment. Hey, brilliant. Okay, so it looks like we are now into the Renaissance era. I would like to point out I am in the Renaissance era, and I have already learned how to make factories, and I am currently working on electricity. and steam power. But we are in a golden age, which does mean that we get to choose some things. Now, the really interesting thing about the Renaissance era is monumentality is still a thing in the Renaissance era, which means we could potentially do a real quick monumentality era and spend all this faith we have here on spreading our wings. And we could even come back here, pick up Reformed Church and swap into theocracy for a short term, take out the colonization card, and just like literally just shoot settlers out of every orifice that my empire has, which could be an interesting way to play. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to switch to Reformed Church. We're going to take the monumentality dedication and just like shoot settlers out from every... Oh, they're actually costing about 600 each. Maybe it would be better for like... Oh man, now that makes me rethink my strategy here. Is it worth it here to go for this? Well, right now we have a 30% cheaper to purchase. If we added another 15% to that with that discount from Divine Right or Reformed Church, that would bring it to a 45% discount. Since right now we're paying around 655 for settlers, that's 75% of the price. Sorry, 70%, not 75. Which means like the real price is close to like 940. If we were to take that 655, divide it by 70, and then multiply it by 55, I think that's equivalent to taking another 15% off. It would actually bring the price down to like 500 faith a settler, which is super good, considering that would mean we could buy a settler about every 10 turns. And then you add to the fact that we're building a settler every 5. That's like a 50% increase to our settler production. And not only that, it allows us to produce settlers in places where we might not otherwise get them. So I think I am going to stop off here for Reformed Church. I'm going to go for early Reformed Church, and I'll probably just take out the Corvée card. Yes, it sucks that I'm going to build wonders slower, but I think it's the least important card for me right now. Pop down another fishing boat over here, so the city has 2 really, really powerful growth tiles to work. Unfortunately, this city over here is just going to be really, really weak for a very long time, because it didn't get the help that it needed. I'm really tempted to purchase its granary and just be like, dude, get to work on your harbor. It's going to take you 43 turns. You need that ASAP. And then I might even grab this builder and get it to go improve those crabs. Finally, France is clearing this barb camp that I opened up for it. I'm really, really glad about that. I didn't want this. I want to get rid of barb camps. I don't want them spawning stuff to cause me issues. We just grabbed another great admiral. This is the one that gives an extra 50% reward for plundering sea trade routes. It also gives me a privateer, which means it could be worth it to... Oh, we did find coal over here. I think I'm going to teleport this guy over to the western side, because if I get to war with one of the AIs, it might be worth it to have a privateer in the area that I can kind of pillage with. Improving the second cattle in Opango. Now, the cattle tiles aren't amazing, but they do give good growth. I think... this city is kind of housing locked right now, so I think it would be worth it to work the archaeological district tile and then prioritize, like, I think what I might do here is I'm gonna unlock this and say prioritize faith and culture, so that it'll prioritize working these kind of tiles. Oh man, the coal spawned here. That's going to be a really, really great tile when I improve it. Now that we're in a new era, we're going to try the PA experiment, and it is indeed worth 4 era score. It's actually a hidden bonus of the Maori. They have potentially up to 12 era score available to them at their disposal, thanks to the Toa, the Mare, and the Pa. Right, so we'll pop this here. We're going to harvest this woods here. That'll instantly finish the trader, but mainly we just wanted to harvest to be able to efficiently place a campus here. We are also going to want to place a theater square eventually in this city. But I think right now, I think I'm going to trade with Candy to pick up the extra envoy with them. Popping down camps and stuff over here. We are slowly improving this city, which makes me very, very happy, even if this tile is complete dog doo-doo. I'm also going to tell this city to prioritize faith and culture as its primary yields. Because it has, like, it's going to get plenty of production incidentally from working those kind of tiles. Now the question is there a particularly important island or anything like that that I would really like to settle on to secure for my empire? These kind of smaller islands can be really, really great because you can just fill them with forest. I'd also like to maybe get a city in here, maybe on the wheat right there. Wouldn't be a bad spot. There's also a couple of really nice ones down here near the coal and stuff. And there's definitely a city down here near this silver. Maybe like right there. It'll grab the silver as well as this tile and also have a decent harbor. So I'm definitely going to send a couple of guys now off in various directions. You know what? I have so many units to manage. I've got to start putting pins down to remind myself where I plan to settle. Alright, Genghis Khan got hit with a natural disaster. I'm going to vote for that. And all the AI should start just sending him tons and tons of gold. We do have 2 envoys at our disposal. I think the big thing is I want to maintain suzerainty of Valletta. Valletta is really, really good because it allows me to purchase buildings with faith in my capitals, or in my city centers, which is really, really nice, especially when I pick up the Reformed Church government. Oh, wow. Colossal heads are an option here. Now, colossal heads are one of the most powerful tourism improvements available. So I'm definitely going to want to have suzerainty of La Venta as well so that I can start placing down those colossal heads once I have flight, which is not that far away from me. And I think also it might be good to pick up friendship with Cardiff so that I have more access to sources of power. I'm not really seeing anyone else that I'm super like enamored with getting suzerainty of. Well, except for maybe Kumasi. And that'll give me a huge boost to my culture and gold because you get a you get +2 culture, +1 gold for every specialty district in the origin city when trading with city-states. That's going to make maybe international trading extremely valuable to me in the upcoming eras. And finally, Rutoria is going to get its very first real tile to work here. The city definitely has needed some love for a while that it has been sorely denied. Oh wow, mega colossal eruption that fertilized 9 tiles. Holy crap. There's monarchy. We won't be switching to monarchy. We will temporarily be switching in the wonder production card. That'll help maybe build some of the wonders that we're working on right now. In particular, the Taj Mahal and the Colossus and the Huey. Excuse me. The Huey to Akali, which we'll build in 23 turns, rather than the 40 that was projected when we originally placed it down. New trade route in the capital, and this just goes to show you the power of Kumasi as a city-state ally. My capital city has 4 districts, which means it gets 8 culture from trading with any city-state. That is ridiculous amounts of culture. To the point where I'm going to instantaneously purchase traders. Now, I do want to get the factory and the coal power plant up in my capital. Do I want to get them right now? Yeah, I think now is actually a decent time to get them. This factory will provide adjacency bonuses to a couple of nearby cities. If I go to the power map mode, you'll see that there is no power just yet. I do have access to coal, and I do actually, kind of paradoxically, I want to flood the world with coal so that I hurt all my enemies while I build all the flood barriers and remain unhurt by it. Now, there's definitely a city in and around here as well. Where exactly would I like to go? Maybe on the stone there might be the right spot. There's I think there's potentially a city in and around here. I don't think there's a city there. Well, I tell you what, if I went there, it would still leave room for a city in and around here and here. But I definitely want to go down here and maybe grab some of these tiles. Like, for example, over here, there was this really, really good city up here that I wanted to grab. Again, might be a good idea to put pins down to remind myself what I'm doing. So I'm just typically prioritizing improving bonus resources because I can't actually remove bonus resources as the Maori. So I think it's probably just a good idea to get them improved so that they can be the most efficient tiles that they can possibly be, and that I don't have to worry about them at all. Like, for example, this crappy copper tile over here is kind of terrible, but in conjunction with these 2 tiles, it actually works out as being an okay tile when the city is like 3 population. There's steam power giving us even more movement for embarked units, as well as access to the Panama Canal. I don't think I really have a good Panama Canal spot, do I? There could be something to be said of specifically settling a city to make the Panama Canal just for the memes. The question is, which body of water would I do it from? Like, for example, I'm pretty sure I could settle a city on this rice and then Panama Canal to Opango, right? Let's put that theory to the test. I might need a unit here with this barb camp, but I should be fine. Time to improve another copy of coal. And normally I wouldn't build mines in my cities that much, but I don't really have an option. I can't get rid of coal. I can't get rid of bonus resources, so I may as well improve them and just get the most out of those tiles in terms of production and stuff like that. Oh, nice! We actually finished the Colossus, which gives us +1 trade route and +1 trader capacity. Now, the best place to trade with city-states is from my capital because it has the most districts of any of my cities. And honestly, this has kind of tempted me to build another district. I could do a canal here just for the memes, or I could fill this with farms. I don't want to build the entertainment district. Let me see. I have 4 specialty districts, which means I have used up 4 out of 5 of this city's specialty districts. The next specialty district would be at 17 population, which would mean I would have to wait quite a bit of time before I'd be able to build the water park in here. And I do really, really want the water park in this city. So do I want to get another specialty district? I'm trying to think of what would be a good one to get. I would have to wait quite a bit of time before I could get the other important district. I mean, a holy site isn't terrible here, nor is... Yeah, I'm probably better off just waiting. I'm probably just better off waiting in here. I was thinking of getting another district in here so that any trade routes I put in my capital to trade with city-states would just be better. But I don't think that's actually worth it right now. Now, with the completion of the Colossus, we have basically kind of finished Wanganwee's sort of short-term goals. I can't remember if Kai Poi... Yeah, Kai Poi is getting a trade route to the capital, which is good. I think I'm going to go ahead and just keep trading with the city-states from the capital because it's worth a lot of gold and culture. And at Wanganwee, my main goal now is to get the city up to a ridiculous population, if at all possible, which is going to involve building probably like 3 or 4 builders. So we'll just get 3 for now. We have access to the shipyard in Nigarawahia. However, I could also use that gold to get the coal power plant in the capital and an extra 3 production. +4 production, as well as the access to electricity. Like, I mean, realistically, also don't forget that the factory gets boosted up in the amount of power that it gives. So, like, this is a fairly significant amount of power right now. I'm up to 60 production at the capital, and I think that's a good amount to stay at. So I think buying the coal power plant was the right choice there. And instead, I might just get this city to work on a builder. I kind of wish I had built the pyramids this game. Actually, Petra is still available. What? I thought that would be long gone. I might try a Petra city, in all honesty. I might give it a go. I'm going to attempt a Petra city. I'm going to do it. Where do I want to put it? Probably like there. And what we'll do is we'll just fill this city with trade routes to my other cities. Alright, my spy has established himself in London, which means we have an 84% chance of succeeding when we do this spy stealing mission, so we're going to go ahead and give it a go. Time to finally get this marble tile online at long last. Oh, and speaking of which, this city should totally have a Maori. It would be a lot of culture and faith from working these tiles. Hey, one of the first in the world to consume power for my cities, as well as unlocking Reformed Church. We are going to be switching to Reformed Church for the 15% discount on faith purchases. We are, of course, going to be losing the Gothic architecture card, unfortunately. Not ideal, but we do need to keep the Harbour Adjacency card and Serfdom and Colonization. I don't think I really want to change anything else in right now. I would really like to have Trade Confederation if I could. Let's see. Otherwise I'm pretty happy with the way things are. This does give me access to another military policy card. And I think limes or limes would be a good one. That'll allow me to build my walls pretty quickly if I so choose. Okay, humanism, all that jazz is finished. We have Reformed Church. Let's head up from mercantilism into colonialism, into natural history, into conservation. Pop a city up here to settle on the coal. And we'll get that settled next turn. Tempted to buy out to this tile, but it's kind of expensive to buy all the way out to this fish. So I might just settle for improving the wheat and stuff. Now, since we have shipyards, it is going to be about time that I start thinking about going up to 6 envoys with these trade city-states. So stuff like their missions is going to be like a high priority for me. Like Bandar Brunei wants me to build an entertainment complex, and I think that's definitely something that we're going to want to do, preferably in a non-coastal city, which I don't have one of those right now. But if I could pull that off, it would be great. There's also like getting field cannon here, although I'm a little bit far away from unlocking field cannons. It's all the way at ballistics, which is pretty out of kind of left field for me tech-wise. I'd have to go through 5 fairly expensive technologies, which would be a diversion from my flight path. I actually just realized that I made a pun there, a deviation from my flight path. Good God. Good God. But speaking of envoys in general, I'm going to have a quick look here and see if there's any sort of thing that just stands out that seems to happen quite a bit. It looks like military science is one that stood out a little bit. So if I could get a knight and kill a unit, I think that would be a pretty good boost for a few of these city-states. Like he wants me to build a water park. There's also, it looks like great scientist and military science, entertainment complex, and theater square. So there's quite a few things that I could pull off now to get a few extra envoys. I'm also making nearly 50, I'm also making 15 diplomatic favors per turn, which I have not been selling to the AI. Can you imagine the sheer amount of money that I would be making if the AI was amenable to buying my diplo favor? Like, let's say I talk to Guitarja and I offer them 100 diplo favor. They would give me 31 gold. Now let's say I offered them 400. Okay, they actually don't have enough money to buy 400. So I'll just offer them 200, right? They would literally give me all of their money for 200. And I could probably shave a bit of this diplo favor off and still get this deal. Yeah, like I could offer them 195 for 60 gold per turn plus 7 gold. I basically just bankrupted Guitarja for diplo favor. That's probably going to be the same deal for pretty much anybody who actually has money. Like, for example, Victoria. She's making 53 gold per turn. I offer her 200 diplo favor. And she'll give me 53 gold and 55 gold. So I could probably add like another 25 favor here. And pretty much completely bankrupt her. Thanks. I was kind of trying to avoid doing that too much to show how good of an economy you can get without sort of exploiting the AI's naivety. But even so, I basically just added like an extra 100 gold per turn to my economy. Now in Tomutu, we do want to get to work on a theater square. I'm going to go ahead and get a builder in here first to get chopping. I want to get rid of this forest because I think that's a good spot for a theater square. And of course, the first thing I will do is chop out that builder. Time to settle the coal city over here, and it is Kapiti. I think I will purchase this turtles tile, Teenage Mutant Ninja Sea Turtles, so that I can use this fishing tile as a jumping off point to get the city to become incredibly huge in terms of population. I would love to be spending all my money on these basic infrastructure things like I was doing in the past, but all of my money is basically reserved for building the shipyard thingies. God, what are they called? What are those things called? Not the shipyard. Yeah, no, the shipyard, that's it. I was getting shipyard and seaport confused in my brain. But now that we have Reformed Church, we can purchase settlers for 550 gold. That is a pretty steep discount. And I think in particular, I want to get some over here in Nagarawuhaya. Because this is just going to take a very long time to walk our settlers over here. So I think this settling formation is still amenable. There's one here, and then maybe one there. And yeah, so we'll probably just kind of use faith to get settlers over here in Nagarawahia slowly. And I'm also going to pop in 600 gold into Kayapoi just to get the Mare in here, because I'm missing out on a ton of culture and faith by not actually having that. We completed our very first Archaeological Museum, which of course gave us the boost for natural history, which is always nice. And Opango can probably start to make decisions about how it wants to help my empire. I could build settlers in here. That's not a priority for me. I'm trying to think like what would be something that would really help me out. Really, I just need to kind of bide time and have builders ready for when we unlock conservation and we can start planting forests everywhere. I think maybe the best use of my time is like basically looking for any sort of mission Yeah, yeah. I think my best use of my time is to look for any of these city-state missions that I could complete in Opango. And it looks like the only one that I care about right now is the Valletta trade route one, which I can do from Nicaragua. So I'll just go ahead and purchase a trader there. Anyway, while I still try to think of what the hell I'm going to do in Opango. Could be worth it to pick up a commercial hub here, purely just to try to steal some of these great merchants for myself. So I think what I might try to do in Opango is, can I actually build the Panama Canal between these two cities? I can. Amazing. Well, the first thing, I'd love to chop that lumber mill, but I think unfortunately, yeah, I think we're going to go for the Panama Canal here. I think this is going to be a giant meme. I never built it just for the lols, but that means technically this city is coastal and you can't tell me otherwise. Yeah, so I went ahead and I faith purchased ancient walls in the city of Waingora so that it could help defend against this. And I'm not really sure what to do with this builder because I don't really have a whole lot of good tiles to improve in this city just yet. I'm used to having like coastal tiles to improve and stuff like that, like the fishing tiles here, which is like an obviously huge return on investment for a civilization like the Maori. Oh my god, look at these fishing boats. Plus 6 food, 2 production, 3 gold, 1 faith, 1 culture. First, builders have popped out of Wanganui, which I am going to want to get the marble and the cattle online, but I think I might prioritize getting the coastal tiles up, primarily for the housing. You can see here, each fishery provides about half a housing, and that's going to result in the city's population getting out of hand very quickly. Library completed over here in Te Pokawi. I do want to make sure I have a little bit of great scientist generation, because there's a really, really important great scientist that I talk about all the time when I'm playing a tourism game, and her name is Mary Leakey, and she appears in the Atomic Era. So I like having a couple of campuses so that I can just have a little bit of great scientist points in the bank for when she becomes available. I'll have an easier time acquiring her. I don't have any shipyards to purchase except maybe in Nicaragua. So I think once I have this, although this one isn't worth purchasing, so I think it is now worth it to just go ahead and do a little bit of purchasing in like these newly settled cities. Just pick up the granary and the monument at the very least, so the city grows its borders and its population a little bit quicker. I don't mind if it has to hard build like the watermill, right? Because that's at least that's something efficient to hard build. Like it pays itself off relatively quickly. I think that's a little bit of a compromise of not investing anything into my new cities, and totally investing into them. But I'm starting to get fisheries online in here, which means the city is starting to get a huge amount of food and a huge amount of room for population to grow into. All right, there is Ferdinand Magellan. Let's go ahead and recruit him. Perfect. He will give us access to a free copy of a luxury resource on this tile and 300 gold. I think I might send him off to grab like pearls or amber. I don't think I have access to amber, do I? Yeah, I think amber is like one of the one things that I do not have. So I'm going to send him over here to grab this amber. Right, so let's go ahead and settle the Petra city. Delete the pin. We start with a builder. I'm going to pop down a farm, of course, because that's the only improvement that I can actually place there. We're going to immediately place the Petra. Where is our theater square going? Theater square is probably going... well, if the commercial hub is going there, then the theater square is going here. And the Petra is going there, so that seems reasonable. Let's actually plot the city out a little bit more carefully than we would normally. Because I could put an aqueduct, a dam, and an industrial zone in this city. Like, for example, if I were to do something like this kind of a configuration, I could do an aqueduct here, I could do a dam right there, an industrial zone here. I think it would then be reasonable to do like a theater square there with the Petra here, and then maybe just like a commercial hub thrown down somewhere like there to keep it going, and then like maybe a throwaway entertainment complex. And then I think that's this city sort of planned and completed. So let's go ahead and place the Petra like so. The very first thing we're going to do is purchase a watermill in here. And then we're going to faith purchase 3 traders. Oh, I only have room for 2. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and pull a trader from the capital to this city. These traders are going to be used for internal trade routes to help actually build the Petra. Quarry online for Wanganui. I need to get the quarry boost. I can't remember what actually boosts it. I think it's like rocketry, gunpowder, and predictive systems. So I need to come back here and pick up gunpowder to actually get quarry production up online. Farms have finally been rebuilt in the capital. And I have a few settlers kind of swinging around out of my capital now. Speaking of which, I do also have enough faith to purchase another settler in Nigarawahia, which I will of course do, because it's just the fastest way to get settlers over to this side of the island. Finally, we completed the spy in this city up here in the north in Warakawa. Trying to find somewhere that I actually want to place this spy. London or Majapahit might be a good spot. I already have a spy in London, so maybe Majapahit would be a good spot to place one so that I can maybe do a bit of tech stealing here. Yeah, I like the idea of tech stealing and finding a little bit more out about this place. Now, speaking of this city that just finished this thing, I think I'm going to go ahead and grab an art museum up here. Well, we're actually still pretty far from actually getting an artist, so I think I can get away with still making more archaeological museums. Now, I do want to get the shipyard in here. I also need to think about what my next district is. I think there's actually a really good industrial zone in this city. So what I might do is build a shipyard, chop this tile, and then place an industrial zone on this tile. Because it'll eventually be pretty damn powerful. And then we'll go for the theater square in here. I just want to make this into a nice productive city. Now, where am I going to be putting the... see, it would be good... And the reason I want to get the industrial zone here, by the way, is because it's going to provide power to 3, potentially 4 cities. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's just out of range if I wanted to settle that city there, right? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Yeah, it's just out of range without any range extenders, unfortunately. I think I do have a range extender. Mexico's in the game, right? Yeah. So I think actually I'm fine. Like, even the power from my capital reaches all the way to Otarapa, which means also the factory reaches all the way down here. You can see here, I'm getting the +6 from the factory that's being powered in my capital. So that's the power of having Mexico on your side. Yeah, but back to the point of what I want to do with this city here. I definitely want to get that coal improved. Finally, coastal raid this, and I was granted a free trader. I'm going to go ahead and place that into this city. And the reason why I'm putting traders in here is so that I can organize this by production and look for really good cities to just get extra production out of. Like, so for example, I can trade with my capital and pick up a wonderful extra 4 production and 3 food, which is going to basically shave 150 turns off of the Petra. Similarly, I can go to Kawia and trade with this city for an extra, or for example, Otarapa, which is going to give me an extra +2 food, +2 production, and +2 gold, which is going to shave another 17 turns off of this Petra. And then I can go ahead and trade with Wanganui, which is similarly going to shave another 10 turns off this Petra. So it'll only take about 40 turns. And as the city grows, as it acquires these hill tiles, I'll be able to move builders into position. Like, for example, this city now has enough food surplus to where I could justify buying these desert hills, improving them with mines, then force working them to shave another 11 turns off this city's construction of Petra, right? So we're going to be able to build a really efficient Petra, thankfully, because my empire is like really well set up to support that. It is going to tie up a few trade routes for a while, but I think it's worth it. Yowzers, major flood on one of my things, but I did get a new civic from a new era, which is colonialism, which gives fishing boats +1 production, which is super great for my current position in the game because I have a ton of fishing boats. So the yields on my cities just got even better. Unfortunately, I think I just lost trade route capacity because I never had that trade route capacity. I'm about to get it. It was because I picked up a trader from a thingy route. So I might as well just throw this into the capital to pick up extra culture and gold. The city is already 2 population thanks to all of the food trade routes, even though it's basically working a crappy food tile. Now, do I want to go ahead and... Wait, I wish there was an undo button because I just misclicked. Well, I guess we're going to be working that wheat tile for another couple turns. Settle my city on the sheep over here. We're definitely going to want a commercial hub in this city. The question is it going to be the very first thing that I build in here? And I think the answer to that question is maybe. I definitely would like the granary and the monument in my Petra city first, however, so that's going to be a priority. The faster I can get this city up and running, the better. But I think I might go for commercial hubs here. Like, the theater square is amazing, don't get me wrong, but getting my commercial hubs up really, really early, well, feels like it'll pay off, especially since I could, for example, harvest this tile right here and then place the theater square there later. Another builder popped out of Wanganui so that we can continue to fill up all of these tiles with fisheries. We're up to a 12 population cap on these guys, and thanks to the mausoleum, all these coastal tiles are like really, really efficient. I also want to get the Maori in here to make these land tiles more attractive to work. They're already super attractive thanks to their high production yield from playing as the Maori. Hey, nice! We actually stole 704 gold from London, and that's going to mean that we can upgrade our scientist here, and our spy here, not scientist. And I think what we'll do is we will go ahead and take rocket scientist, so that he is a higher level. Also, a lot of people, when I said I don't know what level my spy is, I meant in the context of, like, I know what level he is. I know this guy has 1 promotion, but I meant, like, how do I know when this guy is a secret agent or whatever? Like, it does. I never really saw where that's written in the game. It doesn't say here, like, this guy is a secret agent or whatever, right? So that was kind of like the misconception there. Everyone was like, if you look down the bottom, you could see the golden chevrons where you could see the unit's promotions. I was like, obviously, that's not the issue. I literally got, no joke, about 40 comments saying that. So Kahia did in fact finish its lighthouse here, which means I'm going to go ahead and purchase the shipyard in here. And this city got so neglected, I'm going to go ahead and purchase its watermill as well. But I will make it, unfortunately, hard build its granary. We'll also be picking up the theater square here in a little bit, but that can wait while we finish the granary. Let's organize trade routes by gold and start trading with Jerusalem to pick up that extra 8 culture per turn. And it may be about time to purchase another settler down in Nagarawaya, because there is a city over here that I wanted to settle. So I think that's going to be the main use of my faith this era, at least until I have conservation. It's just getting out as many cities as possible. Because as the Maori, the more cities you have, that translates into more tourism long term. Because you generate tourism based on the amount of land you have in a very unique way. So that's why I'm playing this particular way this game, because I thought it would just be really interesting, and it kind of suits the Maori gameplay really, really well. Now, the only downside of this Pariru city is that it doesn't have a very good harbour, and it doesn't have very good production either to make up for that. So it is going to want its own trade route in the not too distant future. So I think I'll pop down a harbour in this city, and I will come back here with a bit of gold to fill this city out. I guess I could swap one of these jungle tiles to give this city a productive tile to work, which would shave about 150 turns off of that harbour. Just about finishing up the last couple fisheries in Wanganui. There's only this tile here, and I don't think you can build them in deep water. So there's only like a couple more tiles, like 4 more tiles that I can actually improve here. And then I'll get to work on improving the actual land tiles themselves. Pop another mine in Pukamira. Now, if I work this, the city will still grow in 2 turns. This will shave 6 turns off the Petra, though, by doing this. So we're getting an extremely fast Petra in this city, considering it was only settled a couple of turns ago, and like its production is already 18 per turn. I will spend a little bit of gold to pick up tiles like these coal tiles, just because they're so productive. Like, it's so worth it to work these and help these cities get online even faster. Now, I did plan on chopping here, and that's going to bring this commercial hub down to an 8-turn build. And I'm also going to prioritize the 2 food 4 production tile in this city, because I want this city to grow to be able to actually do the thing. And I think I wanted a trade route down in Nagarawahia, and I kind of moved it, being a dum-dum. So, you know, that thing happens. I wanted to trade with Valletta, because I believe Valletta has a quest for me to send a trade route to them. Alright, 1 more fishery. I just need 3 more. Let's go ahead and get you in position. 2 more fisheries in this city, and it is completely maxed out. It can go up to 14 population right now, which is a hell of a lot of population. This city will grow in 1 turn, so it would be good to have this guy in position to get another mine for it. So I will spend the money on getting that mine online. Just constantly pumping out settlers in my capital city, which makes me very, very happy. I don't know, I just find this, I'm actually having such a good time just kind of like settling cities and building infrastructure. This is like just such a chill, relaxed game for me right now, which makes me really, really happy. Wow, this is an amazing colossal head. That's worth 6 tourism per turn when we get to flight. Jesus Christ. What I might want to do is like a lattice of colossal heads and rainforests where each colossal head is surrounded by a certain number of forests. There's probably like an efficient way to do it. But I'm definitely going to want to build a mixture of colossal heads and woods to maximize the amount of faith and tourism I'm getting out of my territory. Time to claim this amber with Ferdinand Magellan, giving me 300 gold as well as access to another luxury resource. Now I am starting to run into amenity issues. Not quite yet. When I say I'm running into amenity issues, I mean some of my cities are at +1 or 0. Right? It's not an issue just yet. But I did just pick up Water Park, which is going to like perfectly time itself to actually clean up those amenity issues. Now I do need to keep in mind, I actually have archaeologists as a purchasable thing in cities like Apango. And I'm going to want to get those guys online ASAP. I did also unlock a couple of interesting cards, namely the Colonial Taxes. Unfortunately, this entire continent here is basically just considered Zealandia. And almost all of my cities are on Zealandia, which means I don't get advantage of the Colonial Taxes thing. It's only like Pannonia is way smaller than Zealandia. One thing that's really cool though is if you do look at the continent map mode, you can kind of see that the mountain ranges feels like they pretty obviously follow sort of a very specific pattern of being in between the continents. Like here, the border between Asia and Pannonia, there's like tends to be a high concentration of mountains, and then on the border between Pannonia and Zealandia, there's another high concentration. I would like to see more subcontinent stuff. I think that would be a really cool thing. I just have like maybe smaller mountain ranges, and I wish, I wish they would just kind of get rid of, say, about 20%, like 1 in 5 of these mountains. I think could go. I think, I would like to see maybe 1 in 5 of the mountains in between continents just disappear completely, because the huge mountain ranges are just a little bit too much. Let's go ahead and improve the cattle in Wanganui. And this city has built a bunch of these things. I would like to get the Maori. I'm going to go ahead and hard build it. It's only a 3-turn build time. I think it's roughly about time that I started looking into inland settlements like these ones over here, for example, that I wanted to get. Pukamara has room for another mine. I'm going to go ahead and pop that in there. And I've recently just started having a sneezing fit, so I'm going to call that the end of this episode. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!